All right. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Welcome, everyone, to the YouTube channel today. I'm your host, Adham Shaki. Today, this is an exciting time for me, as today I'm going to start, guys, explain to you guys. Here are my takeaways. I'm going to give you guys takeaways from the 2022 NFL Draft, and more importantly, the season of my predictions for the 2022 season, looking ahead to next year's draft, and also I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an announcement coming right up. Okay, so here's what I like to start out by saying this. So my takeaways from the NFL draft. First, I would like to give a huge shout out to the Las Vegas city and the community for hosting, and to me was arguably one of my most favorite NFL draft I've ever seen, draft experience ever. It's been like since 2 years, since 2020 when COVID got hit. They didn't know what to do, and I was like so upset because they did it the virtual for the first time, virtually NFL draft. But to me, I felt really happy that Las Vegas was able to finally witness something like a miracle. But I did say that I was absolutely right in regards to like where was the event where it was. It was in Bellagio Hotel, which was basically in front of the water fountain, which I did said to my friends at work that guess what? It was there. And so here are basically guys my takeaways from the NFL draft. So first I would like to say the wide receivers class was to me one of my favorite best positions out there. I mean, for example, when you look at Drake London going to the Atlanta Falcons, that's a really good pickup right there by the Falcons because they need a complimentary guy for Marcus Mariota, who's now the new quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. And then when you look at on the other side, they don't have Calvin Ridley, who we all know he's basically banned for 2022 because he was gambling for the whole entire year because he was fighting through something that was very depression. And don't forget, they don't have Julio Jones anymore, who was their iconic guy. And then when you look at, of course, at Chris Olave going to the New Orleans Saints, that's a really good pickup right there by the Saints. Because right now, look what they just basically did in the offseason. They just basically got re-signed Jameis Winston to 2 years, which to me I think he played really well. Even though last season though he suffered a torn ACL, but he's really proven to himself that he could really take good care of the ball. I mean, that's what you want as a quarterback. As a quarterback, you want to do exactly what they do right here. This is how you're supposed to be really great. Then you got yourself Jameson Williams going to Detroit Lions. That's a really good sign up right there. But I feel like he should have not gone to the Detroit Lions. But I get it though because we know that they're right now in the second phase of their rebuild, and we're about to be seeing the Detroit Lions on the upcoming TV show of Hard Knocks Training Camp with the Detroit Lions coming soon this summer on HBO Max. This is definitely going to be one of the best ones you'll ever see. But Jameson Williams, he's arguably one of the best receivers. I compare him to Julio Jones. He has everything. He has the speed, the hands, and we all know he suffered a torn ACL again in the championship game against Georgia, which I will get to the Georgia guys in just a little bit. But now when we look at the head to the quarterbacks, to me, I like Kenny Pickett going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I did tell to my friend, of course, once, and I told him that Kenny Pickett for sure is going to be the guy. People thought they didn't believe me, but guess what? I said from the very beginning when the draft begins, I told my friend Blake Washington this. I told him this. Kenny Pickett is going to Pittsburgh. He was born in Pittsburgh. He played at the University of Pittsburgh for 4 years. I believe he has a chance to do something special, and I believe he could be a day one starter, depending on how Mitch Trubisky, who they basically just signed to a 2-year contract from the Buffalo Bills as a backup to Josh Allen. That's who I see. And then for me, the second quarterback that really struck out to me was Malik Willis. Unbelievable the way how Malik Willis actually he got drafted. He got drafted in the fifth or fourth round pick in the fourth rounds of the draft. And unbelievable, he gets drafted by the Tennessee Titans. Now that honestly to me really shocked me. I believe this is a really good, smart way for the Tennessee Titans to make a push and run for a Super Bowl. Yes, they have Ryan Tannehill as their starting quarterback, which we all know he's a proven quarterback. He's really good. It's just what's going on right now. It's just it's a change that you'll never see in your life. I believe in my mind that Ryan Tannehill is going to be the starter for the Tennessee Titans this season, and I believe Malik Willis will be a backup next year. But to me, this is really what's so really important and what's really amazing for me to see, like, these young quarterbacks have rookie mini camps for these whole 3 days. And more importantly, we're seeing the preseason, which is about to be coming up soon. And we'll never know about the schedule when it comes on May the 12th, which we all know this is going to be a very interesting season to watch. So to me, I think maybe in my mind that Malik Willis is definitely going to be the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Like, I believe he'll be the face of the team, but we just have to see, like, how does he do well in the preseason. But to me, I think Kenny Pickett is going to be the guy. Now, when you look over to Matt Corral, who's in the Carolina Panthers, I think this was an okay, like, it was not like 100% good, but to me, I think maybe that Matt Corral is a really good quarterback. I think he can be really good, and I think he can beat Sam Darnold. I mean, yes, Carolina to me is going to be a rebuilding team, and I think, in my mind, I believe next season we're going to see basically Carolina Panthers. They're going to fire their head coach, and I believe they could be They could have the number one pick in next year's draft in 2023. Because I believe they don't have a quarterback. People thought that Baker Mayfield was going to be going somewhere. So we'll never know, like, what basically could happen. So to me, I think this is going to be very interesting. And then when you look over the defensive side of the football, I look at Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson, to me, I got him as defensive rookie of the year. Because this guy, he played for Michigan. He basically led the team right now with sacks, total losses, and so on. This guy was like second in Heisman Trophy finalists right there. To me, Aiden Hutchinson, to me, could really have a productive season. And we all know that Trey Flowers, the ex-New England Patriot, he got released from the Lions. So I think maybe this is a great marriage for Aiden Hutchinson to go to Detroit, show what they can do to be a proven winning defense. That's what I think. And then when you look over right now at Nakobe Dean, to go into Philadelphia, that's a really, really good, interesting lineup right there. Because we all know that he's right now injured for a little bit, but I do see him, as like a really good keystone linebacker. These are what I think in my mind when it comes towards the draft. But to me, I would like to say this was absolutely amazing draft, and I could not believe the way how they did it. It was absolutely amazing. Okay, so there we go for the first half right now of my video when it comes towards the draft. So right now, everybody, I'm going to start showing you guys. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what we are looking and what we are anticipating. So today the next video topic I'm going to talk about is the 2022 NFL season. Where do I see teams, going? And I'm going to start I'm going to start picking who I see could be eliminated and who I see going first round. So the first round I'm going to choose right now the AFC West. So pick at number 4. I have the Las Vegas Raiders going at number 4. I see them finishing in 4. Yes, everybody can say that Davante Adams was the best pickup they ever did for the Raiders. And we all know they have a new head coach. They have a new GM. It's a new era in Las Vegas. But I think that Davante Adams going to Las Vegas, reuniting with his best friend Derek Carr to the same roommate together in Fresno State together. This is why I think maybe that I see the Raiders going in for. Like, they have a really good productive offense. It's the question mark is on the defensive side. Yes, of course, we all know they re-signed Mad Max Crosby to a contract extension. They got Chandler Jones, and they basically have a new defensive coordinator in Patrick Graham. So to me, I think maybe I see the Raiders going at number 4, and I don't see them making to the playoffs. At number 3, I have the Kansas City Chiefs going at number 3 in the standings. Why I think this is like why you guys may ask me, why do you think Kansas City will go 3? Well, I'll tell you why. Because we all know that Kansas City, they just basically traded the best receiver in football in Tyreek Hill, which everybody can call him Cheetah. We all know that he basically was a productive guy. The thing was that Kansas City was trying to re-sign him to a big contract, but the thing was that it was so expensive. And Brett Veach, who's the GM of the Kansas City Chiefs, allowed Tyreek Hill and his representative, Drew Rosenhaus, to say that, yes, he wants out, and he had to choose 2 teams, which was Miami or New York. But to me, I like that he went to Miami because he can basically help Tua Tagovailoa be great, and he also became the highest paid receiver ever for a 5-year contract. That's what you want. You want a guy that can basically help you win football games and can take you to a higher motor level. This is why I think maybe I see Kansas City at number 3, and we'll never know what's going to happen on the defensive side. Because we all know they drafted like 9 players in the draft. They drafted 9 players on defense. We'll never know how it goes. And the thing is, what are they going to do at the safety position? Because Tyrann Mathieu was supposed to be the guy. He was emotional at the end of the season against the Cincinnati Bengals. But to me, I think we're going to see. But that's why I have Kansas City number 3. At number 2, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. Yes, everyone can say we all know that the other team, the Los Angeles Rams, won the Super Bowl at the new SoFi Stadium, which they did, of course, arguably last year. Yes, everyone can say that the Chargers are back, baby. But here's what's going to be interesting, though. I'm looking forward to see how Justin Herbert in year 3 try to take them over the top and moving them to the next level. So I think maybe in my mind that yes, they did bolster their defense by trading away picks for Khalil Mack, who's arguably the best defense linebacker ever, 2016 NFL defensive player of the year. That's why I think maybe he is going back to the same division that he's back in the division where he used to play for the Oakland Raiders, and he got his revenge in multiple games. So I'm excited to see what Khalil Mack can do. But arguably, what was the craziest one in the offseason was when they signed J.C. Jackson, the best cornerback in the free agent market, to 5 years, $85 million. Yes, they overpaid him so much, but I do believe that the Chargers are going to be a team to keep an eye on. But we all know this is going to be interesting because we will see these two guys, the Chiefs and Chargers, at number 2. We're going to see them week number 2 in September 15 on Prime Video. If you guys would like to watch that, that would be amazing because everyone can say that's definitely a playoff game you would love to see. And then number 1, I'm going with exactly the Denver Broncos. Yeah, everybody can say like the Denver Broncos or, like whatever at what's going on. But to me, I love the Denver Broncos because I'm a Broncos fan. I was not born in Denver, but I was a fan of them, and they won the Super Bowl when I was born in 1999 when the great John Elway won 2 Super Bowls. Peyton Manning, who arrived in 2012, he led them to AFC West titles, and he eventually led the team to the Super Bowl. But now look what's going on right now in this new era of the Denver Broncos. They have finally, with no disrespect to my friend Mateo, because he's a Seahawk fan, and I'm sorry for him. My condolences to you, my friend. But here's what I can tell you. We have the quarterback in Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, to me, is arguably in the prime of his career. We all know that he has the strong accuracy. He has an opportunity to build a team that could try to take him over the hump. He loves competition. And his famous quote is always says, "Let's ride." And there's a new guy going in right now with Nathaniel Hackett, who we all know he's a really offensive mind genius because he helped Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers to successful seasons. And that's why he made Aaron Rodgers arguably the best player in football, which he was a back-to-back MVP. So that's why I think Denver is going to be very interesting because Russell Wilson is there. We're going to see how the competition goes. We'll see how the running backs are going to do. And like accessories, Devontae Williams going into his second year. We're going to see how the receivers are going to do. And basically on the defensive side, it's going to be interesting to see how Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson will do. And more importantly, we're going to see Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb, these two guys healthy because they've been battling through injuries. That's what I think is going to be interesting to watch them. But from my point of view in the AFC West, I see, of course, I see 3 teams going into the playoffs. I don't see the Raiders going to the playoffs. Like, yes, people can say about Devontae Adams, but to me, I think this is going to be a fascinating division we have ever seen in football history, in the NFL, to be quite honest. I think this is going to be an interesting game we'll ever see. Interesting season, but we'll find out what happens, though, in the AFC West. So these are my topics, and when it comes towards the AFC West. So right now, I'm going to start talking about right here. I will be talking about the AFC East. So here's what I have right now at the AFC East. At number 4, I have the New York Jets going, and I do see them missing the playoffs. Yes, everyone, we all know that they hit so much. They had so multiple picks because they traded away Jamal Adams for draft capital to the Seattle Seahawks. But I really did like, though, what they actually did, though, in the draft. Like, look at who they got. They got Bryce Hall, the running back that people say he's the best running back in football. They got Amon Sauce Gardner, who's a really great cornerback. And now you have right now Robert Saleh in his second year and Joe Douglas in his 4th year. This is what's very nice about the New York Jets. Like, they have a foundation. That's what you want if you want to be part of it. People can say, it's a rebuilding team. But to me, I feel like I'm excited to see what these new guys can do. And they got Garrett Wilson, the best receiver, the really good receiver from Ohio State. So I think maybe the New York Jets, they're going to do something special, but we'll never know what exactly happens. So I think in my mind, the New York Jets, yes, they're going to be a rebuilding team, but I know for sure they're going to miss the playoffs, which I know it's very tough, but don't worry. At the end, we'll just see what they do. This is going to be very interesting. As we all know today, They have the rookie minicamp going on. At number three, I have the Miami Dolphins going at number three. Miami Dolphins so far had made one of the arguably one of the best acquisitions ever. They were so aggressive. They re-signed it Emmanuel Agba to a long-term contract. They, by the way, got Tyreek Hill, one of the arguably the best receiver in football, to help their young quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa. Look who they have right now at the new head coaching position. They have Mike McDaniels, who used to be with the San Francisco 49ers as an OC with Kyle Shanahan. So I think maybe this is going to be a very interesting offseason for them. So we'll see how they basically do it. Because I just feel that Miami Dolphins, they're trying to get to the next top. And I know for sure they will get over top. And don't forget, they actually got Connor Williams, the offensive guard from the Dallas Cowboys, Cedric Wilson from the Dallas Cowboys. And this is why I think maybe the Miami Dolphins could be a really, really interesting team to watch because of Tyreek Hill. I think they're going to try their best to be in a playoff position, but we'll see how they do it. At number two, I have the New England Patriots going at number two. So to me, I would probably say that last season was arguably no joke that Mac Jones was the guy. Because we all know Tom Brady has always been a New England Patriot for like 20 years. Everyone's always been saying, when will the New England Patriots try to get themselves a new quarterback? So to me, we'll see how they do in their second year. But I really did like so far what they've done. Yes, we all know they lost J.C. Jackson. They don't have the Dante Hightower. They don't have Kyle Van Noy on their defensive side, but they still have a good offensive unit because they still have Nelson Aguilar. They still have James White. They still have Walden. They still have Jason McCarthy, Devin McCourty. So I feel like this is going to be a very interesting, team to watch though for the New England Patriots. But it's going to be so fascinating because they got bought back Malcolm Butler from the Titans, which we all know that he was the non-sung hero in that Super Bowl 49, when Russell Wilson actually did not run the ball, didn't give it to Marshawn. He threw the ball at the 1 yard line, and he out of nowhere just basically intercepted the ball, which was super crazy to think. So I think the New England Patriots will for sure be a playoff team for sure. And I do see them trying. They're going to be in the wild card spot. And at number one, for the AFC East, I have the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, to me, are the most intriguing team ever because they made super aggressiveness in the offseason. I mean, look what the Buffalo Bills just did. That was an insane ending of what happened when they were playing against the Kansas City Chiefs in last year's playoffs, which to me was my favorite game of the year. Everybody can give the respect to Josh Allen, the way how he performed. He performed at the highest level, and no one has ever seen that happening. But I really did like so far in the NFL of today at the NFL winter meetings, which are the annual meetings. I was so happy when they said that both teams will get one possession each to try to tie it up the game. That's what you want. That's exactly what the Buffalo Bills wanted for the playoffs, and I really, really am happy. And look what the Buffalo Bills have actually done. They re-signed Stephon Diggs to a big long-term contract, and they just signed arguably the best pass rusher from the Los Angeles Rams Super Bowl champion in Von Miller for 6 years. That's the guy you need if you want to win another Super Bowl to get over the hump. People are betting right now that the Buffalo Bills are going to be Super Bowl favorites. We'll see. It's going to be interesting what happens, though, for the Buffalo Bills. But I do believe in my mind, Buffalo Bills will make the playoffs. They're going to be in the divisional playoffs again, but I do see them going to the championship game, the AFC, the Super Bowl championship. So what I do have, and I would like everyone to know this, is that I got myself the Buffalo Bills. I see them going to the Super Bowl. But we'll see what happens, though, with the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are going to get over the hump with Von Miller at the helm right now. And I do see Von Miller is going to get sacked. And I do think he'll be a keystone hero to helping them win. So that's my opinion when it comes towards the AFC East. So this is why I believe that in my mind, Buffalo Bills will make the playoffs. They will make a deep run in the playoffs. And the New England Patriots will be a wild card team to go to the next round. So right now, I'm going to talk about the AFC North. So at number 4, I have the Cleveland Browns at number 4. Yes, people can say what they want about the Cleveland Browns, but to me, I believe the Cleveland Browns will not do really well because they have Deshaun Watson, which they made a big blockbuster trade to get 3 first-round picks from the Houston Texans to the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns made a historical trade of trading away 3 first-round picks to the Houston Texans for Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, we all know he's a really great quarterback. The thing is that he's been sitting out for these last 2 days because he's been He's been hurt. He's been upset because of the lawsuit that's filed over 17 women at a massage therapist, which we all know people can say that he was really upset that he didn't meant to do it. But the jury found him basically not guilty on any of those charges. But to me, I believe he's going to be suspended for 6 games. And that's why I see Cleveland Browns being slipped over right now. That's what I think in regards to the Cleveland Browns. Like, they have a really good foundational piece. Like, they have everything you want. You have Myles Garrett. You still have a great offense. You have a great wide receiver. You have a good running back in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and Deshaun Watson. But for me, if I'm Baker Mayfield, you have to wonder, like, you're going to have a multi-contract guaranteed money at the table for $18.5 million. Why would you ask for a trade? Just say, for example, this. If I'm Baker Mayfield, this is what I'll do. I would play for the Cleveland Browns like for this season right here, because I would want to get my $18.5 million guarantee, because Deshaun Watson is going to get suspended. He's going to get suspended. So we'll see like basically what happens. But it will be very interesting to see what happens from the Cleveland Browns. At number 3, I have the Baltimore Ravens at number 3. Baltimore Ravens, to me, are arguably one of the best teams. Like, they are a really good offense at Lamar Jackson at the helm. Right now, this is a big, crucial year. Lamar Jackson is entering his final year contract, and everyone knows that he wants to get a contract extension. But he said publicly that he wants to wait it out, and he wants to basically make the Super Bowl. But we all know it's very tough for them because the Ravens don't have a number one receiver, because they traded away Marquise Hollywood Brown to the Arizona Cardinals for picks, which I know it was very tough for him, and Sammy Watkins did not actually work out for him. So right now, what are the Ravens going to do? In my mind, I think they could try to make a signing of Julio Jones. If it were me, sign Julio Jones to a 1-year contract, prove it year, because I think this is a good opportunity for him to have a good weapon. Because, like, he doesn't have a good weapon. They don't have a good weapon for the Baltimore Ravens. And how is Lamar Jackson, with his best feats, with the swag suites, with swag running abilities and everything, how is he going to basically throw a football to someone? That's $1 million question. We'll never know, but we'll see how it goes for the Baltimore Ravens. But I still see them, though, as a wild card team and a playoff team. But we'll have to see what the Ravens can do at there. At number 2, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers going at number 2. Everyone, to me, I was so really happy that the Pittsburgh Steelers did the right thing by getting a quarterback for the future. Because we know Mitch Trubisky is an okay quarterback, even though he has a winning record at 29-23 record with the Chicago Bears. But to me, this is a great opportunity for Mitch Trubisky to be like a guy for 1 year and maybe see how the season goes for him. But to me, my favorite ever of all time was I loved how the Kenny Pickett ended up in Pittsburgh, because I've been publicly very clear. I see Kenny Pickett going to Pittsburgh because he was a 4-star guy. He's from the University of Pittsburgh. He knows the city really well. He can basically help them win anyway at all costs. I see Pittsburgh going to be a wildcard team. Do see them as a playoff team, but we'll see how it goes. But I really did like, though, that they still have T.J. Watt, arguably the best defensive player ever in football, with 16 sacks of the season. And I do see Mitch Trubisky do well. They still have Najee Harris. They still have a good offensive line and a defense. So the question is this, though: what are they going to do? And we all know that their GM, Kevin Colbert, officially made a retirement, announced that he's retired from the Pittsburgh Steelers after the draft, because he's been there since 2000. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be their new GM. We'll find out. As of right now, I would like you all to know that the Pittsburgh Steelers have conducted two second-round interviews for their vacant GMC position. So we'll see who they get and who they're going to be as their GM. But I do think that Kenny Pickett is going to be the guy for so many years. It's just we have to see how Mitch Trubisky does. If he doesn't do well, I think Kenny Pickett is going to be starting at number 1 as my number 1 option. And then at number 1, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, people can say what they want, because the Cincinnati Bengals were like arguably the team that should have won the Super Bowl. And I know it's very tough for them that they basically lost a very good one. They made it all the way, but they lost to the Super Bowl. They lost in the Super Bowl by one crucial play. But the thing was, heading to the offseason, I was really, really impressed the way how they did this offseason. They got Alex Oka from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a long-term contract. They got Ted Curtis from the Dolphins for a contract. But the right side of the tackle, which I was really happy that they got, was Linnell Collins from the Dallas Cowboys, because Linnell Collins, we all know, guys, he's from LSU, and so he basically he basically has familiarities because he wanted to play for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So I do see like the Cincinnati Bengals, it's going to be a question mark in the offseason and into training camp. How are they going to go back to the Super Bowl? How are they going to go back? We'll find out. But to me, what I can tell you is this. I really am excited to see what the Cincinnati Bengals will do because the way how they beat Kansas City twice at in the jungle and at Arrowhead, I'm excited to see what do they do. This is going to be a very, very interesting, though, season for the Cincinnati Bengals if they want to actually go back to the Super Bowl. But we'll find out what happens, though. This is going to be a very, very interesting. So I see Cincinnati going to be a playoff team, but we'll see how they do this offseason. We'll see how they do in the season. You'll never know what's exactly going to happen. So in my mind, this is why I think they're going to do whatever they can do. So these are my opinions right here when it comes towards the AFC North. So I see three teams going to be, I see like, three teams going to be in the playoffs, but we'll see how they do so far. But it'll be interesting to watch. So, but the $1,000,000 question is this though. Is Baker Mayfield going to stay in Cleveland or will he leave? To me, Mayfield should stay because Deshaun Watson is going to get suspended. It's just the question is, where will he be? How many games will he be suspended? And now, finally, last importantly, I'm going to talk to you guys about the AFC South. So at number 4, I have the Houston Texans going at number 4. So this is why I would like to say my favorite pick ever from the Nick Caserio, the GM of the Houston Texans, and Lovie Smith, the head coach. I like that they bolstered their secondary by adding Derek Singletary Jr. Heading to this offseason and heading to the draft, people said that they are looking to trade. They're looking to target a cornerback or an offensive line. But Derek Singletary Jr. is arguably really a good safety. He can basically help them in any way they can. So I do see them basically going to be a team that will be in the hot seat because depending on how will Lovie Smith will do and how will basically they do. But this is like a new era in Houston. Like they're still a rebuilding team. But but they still have though Brandon Cooks, who arguably got a contract extension, and it's going to be interesting to see what will Davis Mills do in his second year. So at number 3, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars, to me, is going to be very interesting because Trevor Lawrence is in his second year. Look who they got at number 1. They got Javonte Walker from them, and they basically got Devin Lloyd from the University of Utah. This is going to be a very interesting team to watch because Josh Allen, not the quarterback, but the linebacker, is arguably the best player on their team. And don't forget, they still have a good wide receiver. But Doug Peterson is there, and Trent Baalke's still there as the GM. So it'll be interesting to see what Jacksonville do. But this is right now a new era. But I do see both of these teams going to be eliminated from the playoffs. And we'll see, depending on where they go at number 1, who will have the number 1 pick in next year's draft. We'll find out what happens. Okay. At number 2, I have the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts will definitely try to make the playoffs because last year was very tough because they had Carson Wentz at quarterback. But now, look what they did. They made a trade to get Matt Ryan from the Atlanta Falcons. So to me, I think the Matt Ryan is going to definitely help them. They still have Darius Leonard, their defensive side captain, and they just got Yannick Ngakoue from the Raiders. So it'll be interesting to see what can the Indianapolis Colts do for this season. But we'll find out what can they do. I mean, like they're supposed to be a really good playoff team. It's just the question is how long can Matt Ryan actually perform at a high level and try to help them win in any way they can. So we'll see what basically happens. And at number 1, I have the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans to me are really, really an interesting team to watch because yes, we all know it's very tough that they lost A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles at the draft, and they basically traded him away for picks, and they signed him to a 4-year contract. So it'll be interesting to see like what can the Tennessee Titans do. Like they still have Derrick Henry as their running back. They still have Tyler Layne from the left tackle. They still have Ryan Tannehill, but what's nice is that they still have their head coach in Matt Vrabel, and they have their GM John Robinson. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I see them as a playoff team. I see them winning the division. So I think in my mind, we'll see like what happens with Tennessee. But I'm excited to see what Malik Willis could be next year if the Tennessee Titans do not make a Super Bowl run. So here's basically the AFC right now that I do see what's going to happen right now. So here's what I can tell you guys in regards to like the AFC itself. So the division winners that I have the Cincinnati Bengals in the north, I have the Tennessee Titans in the south, I have the Buffalo Bills in the east, and I have the Denver Broncos in the west. So these are my guys that I see them going to be the 4 teams that are going to possibly win the division. but we'll see like how they do this season. And then I see other teams too, the third places, the other teams that I see, two teams are definitely going to be in the playoffs. But I do see it's going to be interesting to see how they play out this all out. But we all know it's going to be very fun to actually watch. So right now, I'm going to start everyone talking about the NFC itself. So I'm going to start talking about the NFC East. So I got right here at number 4. I have the Washington Commanders. It's right now a new era right now for the Washington Commanders. They still have Ron Rivera. They still have Jason Wright, who is their president, the president of the team. They still have Dan Snyder, which I know basically that Dan Snyder is the worst owner in football. I get it. He should be banned. He should never run again. And we should honestly say that his wife should be the new owner for the team. Right now, it's a new era for the Washington football team. Look what they did basically in the offseason. They traded away picks to get Carson Wentz. To me, Carson Wentz is very familiar because he had time with the Philadelphia Eagles. In 2017, he was on a magic run to winning the MVP, but the bad news was he got injured. He suffered a torn ACL on his right side of his knee, and then basically he's right now starting right now for the Washington Commanders, and this is like his third team. He's been with the Philadelphia Eagles, he's been with the Indianapolis Colts, and now he's with the Washington Commanders. I do see them though missing the Bills because we'll never know what they'll do, the Washington Commanders, because Carson Wentz to me is like not a good quarterback. He's just an underrated guy. He's been injured. He's had different, OCs, and right now they have Sam Hubbard right now, who could be the face of the team because we know it's tough that Dwayne Haskins, which we all know, and we pray for him and his family, which we know he could have been the guy. But the bad news was he's had problems, though, off the field, and that's why the Washington Commanders released him. But it'll be interesting to see, though, what will they do, basically, in regards to the Washington Commanders. So I see them miss the playoffs, the Washington Commanders. They won't make the playoffs. At number 3, I have the New York Football Giants. It's right now a new era right now for the New York Giants because look who they hired. They hired Joe Sheehan, their assistant GM, the assistant GM from the Buffalo Bills, and they hired arguably who is my favorite OC, and I did actually say I was right, Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll is one of the best offensive coordinators in football. He's been around with so many great coaches. He's been with Nick Saban and Alabama. He went to Kansas City for a couple of years. He went to basically the New England Patriots with Bill Belichick. He won 4 Super Bowls. And look what he did with the Buffalo Bills. He led the team to the playoffs. He made Josh Allen, and he made that big, huge contract, which I firmly agree that Josh Allen is a really good quarterback, and I really am happy for him. He got paid. But to me, it's going to be interesting now what's going to happen with Daniel Jones. And look what the New York Giants actually did. They hit it in the park in the home run by getting Kayvon Thibodeau at 5 and Evan Neal at 7. So I really, really am happy that what the New York Football Giants are doing, they're going to do something special. It's just to see, we'll have to see like what can they do exactly to get over the hump. So I have the New York Football Giants at 3. At number 2, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles was a team that I was really surprised in this year's draft. They had 3 first-round picks. They had a pick at 15 and 17. But look what they did. They traded their first of the 3 picks to the Saints for more draft capital. And look what they did basically when they hit over the park. They made a trade with the Tennessee Titans to get A.J. Brown for 4 years, $100 million, which was a really good trade for the Eagles to actually get. And I was really happy for Eagles, for Jalen Hurts, that he got someone very good. And they got Nakobe Dean. They got Jordan Davis, 2 Georgia Bulldogs that was part of their championship in that SEC championship game, in the national championship. So I do think the Philadelphia Eagles could be a team to watch, but I do see them probably make the playoffs, but we'll see how they do. And at number 1, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, we all know, they just basically lost some good players on the offensive side, and they still have Dak Prescott, and they still have Zeke Elliott, their running back, and they still have good receivers with CeeDee Lamb. Yes, we all know they traded away Amari Cooper for picks. They got the Dante Fowler Jr. from the Falcons, and they basically got Dan Quinn still, which arguably Dan Quinn and their OC Kellen Moore, they deserve to be head coaches in this league. They deserve to be head coaches. But we'll see like what happens though. But I really am happy that Dan Quinn, who made Michael Parsons the star and made him the defensive rookie of the year, I'm glad he's staying with them. He deserves to be a really, really good defensive coordinator for a long time, and I'm happy the Dallas Cowboys have. So those are what I see in the teams for the NFC East. Okay, so right now I'm going to talk about right here the NFC North. So at number 4, I have the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears is going to be a very interesting team because right now, look what happened right now, the turmoil of the Chicago Bears. They drafted Justin Fields to become their guy, which I really am happy. They got rid of Khalil Mack. They traded him away to the LA Chargers for picks. They don't have Akeem Hicks. They don't have Allen Robinson. And they don't have Mark Tobin, the running back. So it's very interesting. But right now, it's a new era in Chicago. They have a new GM and Ryan Poles from the Kansas City Chiefs, who made Kansas City what Kansas City did, and Matt Eberflus, their formerly defensive coordinator of the Colts, to the Chicago Bears. So it's going to be interesting to see what they'll do. But to me, I believe that it's going to be an interesting team to watch. We'll see if they can try to make the playoffs. But to me, I don't think they won't make the playoffs. That's what I think. And number 3, I have the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, I cannot wait to watch them first on Hard Knocks training camp with the Detroit Lions. I'm excited to see that show. That's going to be a very, very interesting show to watch. But look at it right now. They hit home run picks already. They got Aiden Hutchinson. To me, I believe he's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's going to be the best defensive player for their team. And what I really did like, though, they got Jameson Williams that they made a trade with the other teams. I was really happy he went to Detroit to help out Jared Goff. We'll see what Jared Goff can do, but I do feel that in my mind, Detroit Lions are going to be an improved team, even though they're still in the rebuild. But to me, they won't make the playoffs again. But it'll be interesting to see what Aiden Hutchinson and Jameson Williams do for Detroit Lions. At number 2, I have the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings, to me, is going to be very interesting. Look who they have right now as basically their new head coach. They got Kevin O'Connell from the formerly Super Bowl world champion OC from the Rams, and look who they got at DC. They have Ed Donatel, they have Curtis Modkins, they have Chris Cooper from the Denver Broncos. So this is going to be very interesting, though, to watch, though, what Minnesota can do with Kirk Cousins at the helm, who's trying to take over the hump and get over there. Yes, they extended him to a contract, but they still have Zadarius Smith. They got Zadarius Smith from the Green Bay Packers. They still have a good defensive player. They still have Justin Jefferson. They still have a good defense and Anthony Barr, Harrison Smith. So they really, and Michael Kendricks and Eric Kendrickson, this is going to be a very interesting team to see. But we'll see how they do this season, but we'll never know. But I do think Kirk Cousins is going to be okay, but I don't see him being the guy. Kirk Cousins has never been good since he was drafted with the Washington Redskins. So we'll see what they'll do. And at number 1, I have the Green Bay Packers. Yes, everyone can say that the Green Bay Packers are definitely going to be the favorites to win the NFC, but this is just what's super crazy. Like, look what they've done so far this offseason. All what they did was they re-signed Aaron Rodgers, the reigning 2-time MVP, for 4 years and a big, huge contract. That's just like crazy. Everyone was speculating that this could have been the last dance right there with Devontae Adams, who traded away, which the Packers made a mistake of franchise tagging him and trading him to the Las Vegas Raiders and saying this was the last dance. People said this could have been a Super Bowl or bust last season. But the thing was, Aaron Rodgers won the MVP. People said that he could have gone to a different team, to the Denver Broncos or any other team, but he's like, no, he wanted to stay there. And Brian Gutekunst is something that maybe people don't actually like because he's not that good. But to me, he did what he had to do. I mean, that's why, it's always tough, for a GM to trade away their best receiver, even though you still have the best quarterback in football still. It's going to be interesting what happens. And look what they have on their offense. Like, they don't have Nathaniel Hackett, who went to the Denver Broncos. They don't have Luke Getsy. Luke Getsy went to the Chicago Bears to be the new OC, and they just lost Justin Upton, their tight ends coach, to the Denver Broncos. But it'll be interesting to see, what happens with the Green Bay Packers. But I still feel that the Green Bay Packers are going to still be in the playoffs, try to make a championship run in the next 4 years. But to me, Green Bay will not win the Super Bowl. Just because you have Aaron Rodgers, he's a 2-time reigning MVP, I don't see him winning a Super Bowl. Because why would they overpay him so much for one organization? I mean, I don't get it. Like, that's the million-dollar question. We'll never know what happens. Okay, so those are my teams that I see going for the NFC North. So right now, I'm going to talk about the NFC West. Okay, so at number 4, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks is definitely a rebuilding team right now because they Look what they actually did. They traded away their iconic franchise player Russell Wilson to my team, the Denver Broncos, for multiple picks for three players: Noah Fant, Drew Lock, and Shelby Harris. I see these three guys being contributors. They still have DK Metcalf, but to me, DK Metcalf is going to get extended. That's what I know. But they still have on the defensive side, they still have Jamal Adams. They don't have Bobby Wagner anymore. Their iconic franchise player, he's gone. So right now, it's a start of a rebuild. People can say what they want about a rebuild about the Seahawks, but I do feel they have a good quarterback room in Drew Lock and Geno Smith. But I do see Drew Lock being the guy. Or unless maybe the Seahawks can try to still look at the free agent market because there's still some good players out there that are still available. There's Jimmy G, um, Nick Foles, and Baker Mayfield. Those are the three quarterbacks that are still out there. But we'll see what happens, though, with the Seattle Seahawks. And at number 3, I have the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals, to me, made a huge splash in the draft by getting Marquise Hollywood Brown. That's a really good one, even though they just lost Christian Kirk to they lost Christian Kirk to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They still have a good defense with J.J. Watt still at the helm, Byron Murphy, and they still have and they have James Conner from there. So I feel like Arizona could be a team to watch, though, but we'll see what happens, though. It's just I think maybe Arizona is going to try to make the playoffs because Kyler Murray still wants an extension, and right now he's not at training camp. So we'll see what happens with Arizona Cardinals. But I really was surprised and impressed that Steve Keim, their GM, and Michael Bidwell pulled the trigger by getting Kyler Murray, a really good receiver, in Marquise Hollywood Brown. And then second, at number 2, I have the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers still have a really great team. They still have Nick Bosa for a long haul. They still have Eric Armstead. They still have a good, decent defense. But the question is, everyone's saying, are they going to move on from Jimmy G and start Trey Lance? But to me, I would love for the 49ers to keep Jimmy G for just one last season to play out the contract and then trade him. And we all know it's tough for him, though, because Jimmy G is not going to be starting right away because he suffered an injury in his shoulder and he will be out until training camp. It'll be interesting what happens, though, with Jimmy G. But to me, you got to keep Jimmy G because you need to play out this contract. Give it one last chance. Jimmy G has made you guys what the 49ers made for you guys for a couple of years. Led the team to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. And last season, they made it to the NFC Championship. They lost to the Super Bowl champion Rams. So to me, I believe if I had to say one thing, Jimmy G should play this final season with the team, and Deebo Samuel should stay with the 49ers. They cannot lose both of them because I would love for them to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in this year's season. I would love for that to happen. We'll see what happens, but you'll never know. And at number 1, I have the reigning Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles Rams made a huge splash last season by getting Matthew Stafford from the Detroit Lions to the LA Rams. And look what they did. They finally made it happen. They won the Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium. Aaron Donald is the best defensive player on their team. Cooper Kupp. And we all know they lost Robert Woods to the Tennessee Titans that they made a trade. But I like the signing, though, of Allen Robinson for 3 years to help Matthew Stafford come together. And then Odell Beckham, he's still unclear. But it was tough that the Rams actually lost. They lost Von Miller to the Buffalo Bills. But I kind of do like what they're doing right now. But it'll be interesting to see what they'll do on the opening kickoff. I'm excited to see the opening kickoff show and the game. But I'm looking forward to see the Rams trying to beat Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see what happens. So that's basically, guys. So this is all basically, guys, my prediction for the NFC East. And right now I'm going to talk about the NFC South. Okay. So at number 4, I have the Carolina Panthers. Why? Carolina Panthers is going to be a team that will definitely, I see them fire Matt Rule. They're definitely going to get the number 1 pick because they don't have a quarterback. Yes, they have Sam Hubbard. They have Matt Corral from North Carolina who really could be the guy. But we'll just have to see what Matt Rule can do. Yes, they have Ben McAdoo as their OC, but we'll see how they'll do. It's just like how they're going to try to compete. They still have Christian McCaffrey. They have a good decent offensive line by Enrique Oksai from Bradley Chubb's home school. So that's why I see him do. That's why I see them, try to win. But we'll see what happens, though. At the end of the day, you never know what will happen in Carolina. But to me, I will prove to you guys this. Carolina will get the number 1 pick, and Matt Rule is going to be fired. At number 3, I have the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons made a huge, huge splash by getting Desmond Ridder and Drake London to complement Marcus Mariota. Right now, the Falcons are I would say not in the rebuilding team, but I do see them missing the playoffs because we'll never know what's going to happen with Arthur Smith, who's in his second year. Could he be fired? We'll never know. But we'll see exactly what happens. But I'm looking forward to see how they'll do. But to me, I think maybe the Atlanta Falcons will try to make a run, but I just don't see Atlanta Falcons making the playoffs. But I do see Desmond Ridder being a star for the next couple of years and in the future. Just we'll have to see how Marcus Mariota will do and how Drake London will do. At number 2, I have the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints made a huge, huge splash by getting Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State, and they just got the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, coming back home to New Orleans for 3 years. And Sean Payton which we all know he's retired. They have Dennis Allen as their head coach, and they have a good offensive team. They still have Jameson Williams. They have James Winston. I'm sorry. They have still have Taysom Hill, the Swiss Army knife guy. We still have Cam Jordan. So it'll be interesting to see what the Saints will do. But I'm looking forward to seeing them be the Saints and try to make it all the way to the hunt. And at number 1, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We all know everyone was saying about what Jason Light, their GM, said. We're going to bring the band back together. And I really am surprised, though, that they actually did it. Bruce Arians, the great football coach, he retired because of his health problem. Todd Bowles is going to make a huge jump, and he's going to help them win. But the one thing that's going to help them win the Super Bowl this year could be the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, which we all know he won 7 Super Bowls, trying to get his 8th Super Bowl. And he's going to be at age 40. He's going to be age 45, and he'll be entering his 23rd season. So it'll be interesting to see what Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I like how they re-signed their guys. They got Shaq Mason and they got Logan Ryan. So it'll be interesting to see what they will do. But I'm looking forward to Buccaneers. Could they try to make a title run? We'll see how it goes. So here's basically the NFC playoffs, the NFC division myself for the teams. So this is who I have. I have Buccaneers in the South. I have Green Bay Packers in the North. I have the Dallas Cowboys in the West. And in the East, I have the and the West I have the Rams. So the East I have the Cowboys, and in the West I have the Rams. So those are my teams, but I do see some other teams in second place. They're definitely going to make a playoff run, but we'll see how it goes. But other than that, everybody, thank you all everyone for tuning in today on this YouTube channel. Please, everyone, subscribe right here, and this is right here. If you like to comment on the whole entire show. I appreciate you all, everyone, so much. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. And I would like to make an announcement. I will make this video again next year. And I look forward to seeing you guys watching, and I look forward to doing this again in the draft next year in 2023 in Kansas City. I'm looking forward. And then I got a message for you guys. To all football fans out there, are you ready for an NFL season? I'm ready for the 22 NFL draft. Are you? See you, everyone, at the draft. See you, everyone, at my video of the draft 2023 in Kansas City. And I'll see you all, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great night. Please, everyone, comment it. Hope you all enjoy it. And I will upload this video on my Twitter, and I hope you all, everyone, enjoy. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your day, and have a great weekend. And also, I want to give a shout out to Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. You made us amazing. We all appreciate you all so much and thank you for raising us to be who we are. Thank you very much. I appreciate it all.